Welcome to Creative Koncepts, everyone, episode 3. If you're into fitness, then you're in for a treat today. We have our special guest, Chase, and we have my co-host, Kent, and we're ready to kick things off.
Well, you already know Big Shelby in the building. Like she said, it's a fitness one. We was actually working out before we started the podcast, so I hope them veins looking strong. And to my right, you know they popping. So
moving that furniture, man.
So how you doing, Chase?
What's going on, guys? My name's Chase Clements. I'd like to thank Kent, Miss Nala, for having me on and giving me the chance to talk to you guys and give y'all a little insight about what I do and the life of a amateur bodybuilder coming up.
Let's get it.
All right, so I just want to, get some context and background. How did you and Kent meet?
So we met through, what you say Greg is? Your
my roommate.
Roommate. So his roommate I work with, and he's my supervisor at work. So, he cool enough to invite me to his home, and, Chase was in there.
Yeah.
And so we just started talking, and I'm a person that's all action. Like, I don't just want to talk, like, let's do something. So I was like, hey, you want to jump on a podcast? So
here we are. I'm here, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Kid's got good energy. We kicked it. We talked for a little bit and we made it happen. We were just talking about it last week. Now we're here.
Now we here.
Awesome. So how did you get into bodybuilding? Like, how did you discover it?
So I had a baseball background. I played baseball all my life.
Okay.
And I actually got cleated on play at the plate when I was 14.
Wow.
And broke my hand in 4 different places.
Wow.
And so really physical therapy, when I started doing the exercises, going to see the physical therapist and do everything for my hand, I just came back and, I was like, I want to join a gym.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's join a gym. So I started at the gym. I was about 132 pounds.
Wow.
About the height I am right now. I ain't grown much since I was 14.
Okay.
Maybe because of the weights, maybe not. But I just wanted to build a little bit. So I joined the gym and I've always had the work ethic. I was working out real hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, let's see. I would get on Google, how to build muscle. What do I need to do to build muscle?
Awesome.
So got into the science of things, started looking up nutrition, found out that was a big thing. I enjoyed the working out. That was easy for me.
Mm-hmm.
But, just eating right and seeing how it changed the body. That's really where it took off for me.
So once it sparked your interest, you just kind of took a deep dive into it.
Yeah, real deep dive. And,
Okay.
So I worked out for about a year before I did my first show. I gained about 40 pounds of muscle and didn't really have a coach or anybody guiding me. I just was like, let's hop in this. So I did my first show when I was 15, the NPC Georgia. I don't think it's around anymore, but I won the teen division for middleweight.
Okay.
And I got second overall. I actually lost to a professional wrestler.
Okay.
His name is Austin Theory. He just wrestled John Cena at
Whoa.
SmackDown. So
Dang,
that was a guy to lose to,
that's fire. Yeah,
but
that's
I was 15. I think he was 19 at the time. So, then I just jumped real into it. Did another show down the line. Won my weight class. Lost overall. Got second place. But, I just kind of kept going and took off from there. Went and qualified for nationals. So I did teen nationals when I was 16 and ended up getting 7th out of the overall, 12 guys there. And then shortly after, my dad passed.
Oh.
It happens. It's life.
Yeah.
sure.
But, so I put bodybuilding on hold for a bit and just had to work, help mom out, pay the bills,
Awesome.
I was more worried about getting money than taking care of myself. But, just doing that. And finally, a couple years down the road, got financially stable and had some stuff happen. And I was like, it's time to take care of myself again.
Absolutely.
for sure.
So
I want to take a few steps back when you talked about, that deep dive you took doing research on your own. So what did you learn as far as like diet, nutrition, fitness? What did you learn overall?
Well, basically, one of the main staples is, so it's all science-based, right? So you got to find out how many calories you burn a day, your TDE, your total daily energy expenditure. And so you're either doing one of three things.
Okay.
You're either in a calorie deficit, which is when you're trying to lose weight. You're either eating at maintenance, which is about when you eat what you burn on average every day.
Okay.
Or you're in a surplus, or a bulk, whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
that's how you put on muscle. Is so you're eating more than what you burn every day. So, you know, if you burn, let's say you burn 2,500 calories a day or whatever, your TDE. So I try to eat, you know, about 500 more than that. So about 3,000, you know.
Okay.
Stay anabolic, which is when you're building muscle. Because you're either anabolic or you're catabolic, which is when you're breaking down muscle.
Okay, well, break down the terms for the people. Break them down.
Yeah, so like I said, catabolic is when your body's burning through your muscle, so you're not eating enough. So you're basically breaking down the muscle tissue, which you don't want to do. Some of the ways to stay anabolic is just eating consistently. You know, I talk with Ken. Ken's like, how many meals you eat every day?
My boy said 6. I was like, damn,
So,
that's a lot of pills.
and for me, it doesn't change whether I'm prepping for a show, cutting, or I'm trying to put on mass and do a bulk or whatever. So I'm still eating my 6 meals a day, every 2.5 hours. The quantities are just different, you know? So if I'm trying to cut down and get lean for a show or get ripped or whatever, you know, I'm being a little deficit. But if I'm trying to bulk up and put on, being a surplus.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like right now, I'm in my off season. So for a bodybuilder's off season, they're trying to put on muscle, put on tissue. And that's what I'm doing right now. So just trying to work on some things. Like my coach, he's like, you know, we got to get your chest up. We got to get your back up, you know, before I go on stage again. So I'm really trying to prioritize training those muscle groups and just making sure my nutrition for the day is on point.
So what you call those guys that be at these local gyms and they all chests, but then their legs is like chickens?
And they skip leg day. I mean,
Not chicken legs.
I mean, it's
That's not a bodybuilder, right?
no, but you know, they may want to call themselves that. That's fine.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. Just asking.
A lot of people don't like training legs. I love training legs, so it's just one of those things. But yeah, man, don't skip leg day. That's a big no-no.
It is.
You know.
Because it's heavy, you know, carrying all that weight up top. So I'm
why
assuming.
you want to carry all that weight up top and have some scrawny little legs, you know? But even bodybuilding, you know, it's more than just being big. It's more than just being a mass monster. You want to be proportionate. You want to be symmetrical. You ain't symmetrical if you got chicken legs and a huge upper body.
Right.
So you kind of want everything distributed equally. You kind of got to think of it as an art.
Okay.
You know?
So that makes sense.
Interesting
your
concept.
body's your canvas. So you're trying to fill it out. Wherever you're lacking something, you're trying to fill it out. Put something there, you know?
Absolutely.
I like that. And we ain't knocking the people with the chicken legs now.
Yeah.
It's just we got an
like
expertise
you was throwing
here.
a little shade.
If that's what you want to call it, you know, get them legs up there. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your experience, like, how did it impact your life? Like, you know, what things did you learn from it? You know, I know it takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, really, I just got motivated every day to go. I was kind of a man on a mission.
Okay.
But you can have all the motivation you want, but without discipline, it's nothing, you know? So it's really about being consistent and, you know, just doing the little things every day. And they add up. You know, if you're consistent and you do what you're supposed to do every day, good things are going to happen to you.
I like that.
That's with anything in life, though. You know, whatever your craft is, whatever your passion, if you're consistent and you do it every single day you're on your grind every day, you know, good things are going to happen. The hard work's really going to pay off.
And that applies to anything in life, not just bodybuilding,
most
of
definitely.
course. Yeah. So what about, like, how did you stay motivated, you know, when it was times where you didn't feel like maybe going to the gym or any stuff like that?
You know, you just kind of got to dig deep. You know, I've been in some different situations and been in some dark places, and you know, that was really my outlet.
Wow.
And at the end of the day, though, you know, you got to love what you do. If you're not having fun with what you're doing, then what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, I can agree.
You know, so is one of those things I just got really passionate about. And sometimes I've fallen off the wagon. Like I pretty much stopped working out from the time I was 17 to, 20 years old, not all together, but consistently.
Yeah.
I was working, I did granite marble countertops.
All right.
I did brickwork. So I was, in construction, those guys, they don't really have time to eat. You get a little 30-minute lunch break and that's it. But, so priorities change every now and then, but I got back on my feet. I was able to get financially stable and I just realized, it's time to take care of me. And I got to take care of myself. And so I got back in the gym, and the gym that I go to now, Madhouse Gym.
Shout out to Madhouse.
Best gym in the world over there in Mableton, Georgia. But man, I just fell in love with it. It's a 32,000 square foot building. We got over 500, 600 different pieces of equipment.
Wow.
And it's like, I was like a little kid in the candy store. I always knew from a young age, I saw those guys, and I remember telling my mom, or showing her a picture of this bodybuilder. I was like, I want to look like this. I want to be big. And my mom was like, at first she's like, I don't know, I don't know if I want you to be that big. But, she supported me on whatever I wanted to do. So shout out to Mom. I love you.
Shout out.
So I just had support though along the way the whole time. And that's a big thing. The people around you, when they're supporting what you do, even if they're not, if that's what makes you happy, then do what you want to do.
You got to do that. Ain't nobody in your way. You know what I'm saying? Like when you're in unfamiliar territory, you got to be able to embrace it and find a way to get out of it. Don't sit there and,
Most definitely. And I got out of it for a while, and, I was kind of beating myself up. Like, man, I was not going to say I was a young protege, but like I had a lot going for me and I was going in such a good direction. And that time off that I took, I kind of think like, man, where would I have been if I would have just stayed consistent and kept doing it?
For sure.
But you know what? I got back on it, and better late than never.
Right.
And now I'm here.
I really want you to touch on that again, because I feel like that happens in life. We can stay consistent with something and fall off, and we beat ourselves up about it so much. So can you speak on that a little bit more?
Most definitely. So, I mean, just, getting knocked down and getting back up. And it took me a lot longer than I'd like to admit. And, some things happen along the way. You got breakups, relationships, things like that, that go down, that kind of get you down. But you got to find a way to channel that energy, instead of just sitting there all day, like moping and crying about it.
Right.
Like you gotta turn it into something.
Yeah.
Because life goes on regardless. So
for
whether you're doing what you're supposed to be doing or you're not, you just got to keep it pushing. And so I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing necessarily for a little while, but it worked out. Everything worked out, man. And like I said, it was better later than never.
Right.
I think getting back into it has just helped me overall with everything. Confidence, your mental health, definitely, I think.
It's definitely important.
And you don't have to take it to the extremity of being a bodybuilder. I know a lot of people whose outlet is just the gym. They don't want to be a bodybuilder. They want to be healthy. They want to look good. They want to look good for the beach or, whatever. But
hi, girl, summer.
Exactly. So, but, it's just finding that outlet, whatever you like to do, whether it's going to the gym or, photography, or doing what you guys do.
Yeah.
You got to let that be your outlet and enjoy it.
For sure. We definitely love it.
Because like I said, if you're not enjoying it, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah.
Come on.
For sure. Sure.
And you have to be real at the same time. You have to be realistic. But, I was always like a kind of cliche person. But, you'll have your people who want to put you down and tell you like, oh, what's the point of that? Or, oh, like, why are you doing this? Why do you want to look like that? Well, it's just what I want to do.
For sure. That's what you want to do. And I don't like people that always be trying to tell you what you should be doing and they ain't doing nothing with their life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot of people who want to put their 2 cents in where it doesn't necessarily belong. But at the end of the day, you just got to do you. People are going to talk regardless, no matter what you do.
That's true. Good or bad.
Good or bad. So you just got to, brush that shit over your shoulder and just keep on pushing, keep it moving, you know?
I love it.
You know?
So when you mentioned about you mentioned earlier, I wanted to say, like, you know, as professionals, like, how does the professional world work with a bodybuilder? Like,
Well, so me personally right now, I'm not shit. I'm gonna put it to you guys. I am an amateur bodybuilder.
that's cool though.
But to be a professional, so you start out with the local show. Your local show is I compete in the NPC. So that's that's the organization. But in the NPC, how it works, you do a local show.
Okay.
You do well at that local show, you qualify for nationals. Now, nationals, you got to be on your game.
Right,
you got to
right.
be, a little bit sharper because that's where you get your pro card at. So everybody at nationals is shooting for that pro card. I
Right.
believe they only give it to, the top spot in your division, maybe top 2. It's been a while since I competed. It's coming next year.
Okay,
But,
let's get
All
it.
right.
Let's get it.
We're going to be on the lookout for
For
you.
Yes,
sure, for
man.
sure.
But so you get your pro card by winning nationals or a national show. You got to qualify first, and then you jump into the pro ranks. And when you get into the pro ranks, is when money, sponsorships, things like that start getting involved. So,
So the local thing, like, I want to say, like, is it something you would already know about? Like, how do you get into these local shows?
yeah, man, you just got to go on the website.
Okay,
and
so it's on websites.
They have a whole
Let
list.
me find out. You trying to...
It's for the viewers.
Yeah, man. So
Y'all ain't see this episode before, so this for y'all. Look, I feel good with my muscles. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
So, you find out when the local shows are going to be, and you make sure it's a national qualifier. So you register, you do everything, get your hotel, get your tan set up, because you got to get the spray tan
Wow.
and everything.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, because the light that they use on stage, it drains you. So
Oh,
it don't matter.
interesting.
It don't matter what color you are, what race you are, whatever. If I went on there just like this, I would look like a ghost,
Oh.
and you would not. You would.
I'm sorry.
No, it is what it is. I'm just being real
These
with
lights
you.
good for you, though? You
Hey,
can turn
man,
to a ghost on it.
I hope not. I hope the camera makes me look okay. But
love it.
yeah, so like the light washes you out.
Mhm.
So you want the judges to be able to see every vein, every muscle fiber,
Wow.
everything like that. So
The
that's
definition.
yeah, the
Think about
definition, really outline your body. So, and they judge you based off of like, there's different categories, right? So there's men's open bodybuilding, which is what I do. They have a newer division, is classic physique. So it's more of the old school bodybuilders that you see, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and those guys. The men's open, what I do is kind of the mass monsters. I mean, you still want to be ripped, of course. You want to be symmetrical. It's what you want your body to look like. And then they have men's physique, which is the guys in the board shorts. They go, kind of like the beach model look.
Okay.
But those guys are like, they are ripped. They are lean as hell.
So you mentioned the old school, like, what they did differently, you think?
I mean,
So, I mean, it is a newer generation,
Yeah.
but like,
it's just a different,
oh, you see,
no, it's just a different look, man. Like those guys, they got the smaller waist, they got big legs. I mean, they're proportionate everywhere. It's a different style of posing too. So, bodybuilding,
like
you have
this.
your mandatory poses, you got your front double bi,
Yeah.
your side chest.
Mhm.
Classic physique guys have that too. But I think it's a little bit more artistic what the classic physique guys do. And
Yeah.
I really like the classic physique division. But they go based off of your height and your weight,
Oh.
Mhm.
whereas bodybuilding is just based off your weight.
Mm.
Gotcha. you do
So
that.
for me, like I think my cap, because I'm 5'7", not that tall, didn't get that blessed. But I think my cap is 178 pounds for my class. I would have to suffer really hard to
Mhm.
get down to 178
Oh, yeah.
pounds
Mhm.
and probably lose some muscle mass, lose some size. So those guys, I mean, I love that division. Even the men's physique guys, I mean, I respect all of those guys, They all work their ass off and
Mhm.
do all that. But, so it's just different for me. I can't hit that weight cap. I think right now I'm off season. I was prepping for a show, then I got sick and life happened.
Mhm.
And I decided to take a long off season and improve on my weak points. I talked with my coach about it and everything. But yeah, getting back to it, like I'm sitting about 226, 227 right now. I am not going to kill myself and get down 50 pounds just to get in the classic physique division.
I feel you.
You know? So, but my goal, like, I would have been a middleweight. But I was kind of pushing it for middleweight, too, because I believe middleweight was 178 or 179. So I would have had to get down there anyway. So I wanted to hop into men's open and classic physique and do both. But I was like, man, instead of, well, I got really sick too, and that didn't help. It kind of threw the whole training, everything off, but the whole prep. But instead I was like talking to my coach and I was like, man, let's fill out this frame a little bit more. Cause I got back in the gym and my buddy was doing the show and he was like, man, do it with me. You know, just push yourself. I know you still got it in you.
Right.
And it was great. Like I was pushing myself. I mean, my body fat was down. I got my DEXA scan. I was at like 9% body fat and I still had like 12 weeks to go. So, I mean, I could have gotten there, but there's a certain way that I want to look on the stage. And I just felt like I was rushing it.
And you are where you want to be.
Yeah, I am where I want to be. And and I don't think as bodybuilders, I don't think any of us are ever where we want to be.
Well, like, yeah, that makes sense.
We're like so critical of ourselves. You know, you got the body dysmorphia and everything. Some days I look and I'm like, man, I'm feeling kind of juicy today. Kind of juicy, but, you know, pumped up or whatnot. And then some days you're like, man, I look like shit. Yeah. Like you just wake up and you're like, man, I feel like a little bitch, you know?
Right.
I don't know if I can cuss on here.
You go. Okay.
Well, you didn't say a couple words.
Well, since you said
I know. I already dropped a few. So
since you said that word, let's talk about the little elephant in the room. And the elephant is, how do you feel about people with the injections?
I mean,
injections, right? Steroids, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's to each their own, man. It's whatever you want to do. So, you know, the only time I have a negative outlook on it is if you're in a sport that basically outlines, okay, you are not allowed to do this.
Okay.
You know, so, and there's natural organizations, like what I compete in is not. I'm not really going to speak for myself and put everything out there like that. But there's natural organizations and those guys are great. They work their ass off. If anything, I think it's kind of harder to compete naturally. But, you know, when you go to a circus or a carnival or whatever, I haven't been in one of those, but you want to see the freaks and you want to see the bearded ladies and, you know, you want to see all those guys. But basically in the organization that I compete in, there's no law against it. There's no rules against it.
Okay.
You know,
so to each their own, yeah.
Yeah, so to each their own. But all the guys are doing it.
Yeah.
You know, there's girls doing it, there's guys doing it.
Yeah.
Some people are more open about it than others. But it is a thing. So I feel like, you know, if you want to compete in the NPC and get your pro card, I'm sure there are some guys who are natural who get their pro cards.
Right.
And great for them. I don't think you're any better than anybody if you're natural, and I don't think you're any better than anybody if you're on gear.
Yeah.
Right.
People call steroids gear. So if y'all ever hear me say gear, you know, that's just a little insight to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think if you're playing a legit sport, you know, professionally, and if there's a rule like, hey, you're not allowed to take this.
Right.
Okay, if you take that, yeah, that's cheating.
Yeah.
But so, like my organization, for example, I mean, there's no rule against it. So it's, you know, to each their own. That's your choice if you want to do that. So just one of those things, you know, to each their own.
So I have a question that's taking a little different angle. So as far as relationships or somebody you're dating or interested in, does she have to like be pumped up or go to the gym like you?
Yeah, no, it's funny you asked that. So not at all. So my girlfriend that I'm with now, you know, I told her, I'm like, look, you never have to do none of that stuff for me. I just asked for your support. And, you know, she knew what I did from the start.
Right.
So, you know, it's kind of one of those things, you're either with it or you're not.
Yeah.
And, but my girlfriend's awesome, man. I got to give a shout out to her too. Cause, you know, she supports me. She's helped cook some of my meals. You know, she's very patient with me. Cause bodybuilding can be sort of a selfish sport.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Kent earlier, man, it's like sometimes like, you know, we'll be laying in bed and it's like, oh, I don't want to get out of bed, but it's like, babe, I got to cook these meals for the day real quick.
You got to get it in.
If I'm prepping for a show, you know, my coach will he'll tell me how much cardio I got to do.
Right.
Most of the time I got to wake up and do it fasted because that's most optimal for burning fat and getting ready for a show. But, you know, it's just one of those things. You got to do what you got to do. And she understands that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
And, like, she's getting into it herself. I was telling you guys earlier. I put her on a meal plan. And she's just started going to the gym and everything. And she's crushing it. You know, it's been 2 weeks. And she's already seeing results. And she's getting into it. But, you know, I told her that was her own choice.
Right.
I said, if you want to do it, you do it for you. You don't have to do nothing for me. You know, I love you for the person you are, you know, how you look right now. You don't have to do nothing special for me. So if you want to do this, I will gladly help you.
Support, right.
But this has to be your decision. You know, you do it for you. You don't do it for me. Because I think you look good the way you are.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so.
That's awesome.
And I've been in relationships
like
in the past where it's like, it just doesn't work, man. Like they want to go out to the clubs and they want to go out to the bar. And there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you like to do.
But what you trying to do, that's not.
Yeah, with what I'm trying to do, it doesn't really work. And that's not to say like I wouldn't let my girl go out to the club or to a bar like with her friends if she wants to, you know? But it was just one of those things that just was not working, and you know, eventually it caused a rift, and that's why it's in the past. But
I like that.
you know, it is what it is, but it's all good. I don't, you know.
I think that's awesome that you don't put that on her. You still allow her to be her own self and just make those decisions for herself. Because I mean, sometimes, you know, I think in relationships, people can get caught up in their partner's identity. So I think that you let her, you know, just let her be herself and don't put that pressure on her. You know what I mean?
I think you can definitely, going into that, you can definitely lose yourself being with somebody. And so you always want to stay true to yourself. And my thing that I told her is, you know, try it out, see if you like it.
Right.
And, you know, we'll do this little trial. If it's not, if it's not for you.
You got a business going. That's what they do with the free trials. Sign up for 30 days. Look.
But, you know, not even like that. But it's just one of those things. I just want her to have fun with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not always fun dieting, you know?
Yeah.
And it ain't for everybody.
Because she might want to eat something else, but you got to eat.
And, like, you know, she'll ask me, she'll be like, hey, because I gave her a plan, but, you know, we'll alter it sometimes. You know, say, like, she doesn't want to have, like, I think one of her meals, I give her, like, chicken and rice and avocado. If she's not feeling it that day, it's like, okay, what are you feeling?
Right.
You know, what do you know? But then again, I always reiterate to her that she doesn't have to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to discourage her or nothing like that. I just always want her to know, like, she's not forced to do that.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So I don't want her to feel pressured, you know? But she's awesome. She's like, well, you're going to be competing next year. And, you know, I want to look good at your shows. Like, you know, my man's a bodybuilder and I don't want to be over here looking, you know, but, you know, so I'm glad that she's taking an interest in it. And, you know, it's the first relationship that I've had where they're really involved in it.
That's beautiful.
But I think it's awesome that she's, you know, taking an interest and, you know, kind of seeing what I do. And, you know, there was some complaining the first few weeks, you know, she knows it's work, because it is work cooking all your food.
Like it.
Unless you got the bankroll to go, you know, get these meal prep companies, which are, you know, they're great too. They're expensive. But and if you got the bankroll for it, great. That just makes your life even easier. You don't have to cook.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, so it's just work, you know, it's what I do, but it's something different. And that kind of goes back to what drives me. You know, I know, not to sound cocky or arrogant or anything like that, but I know a lot of people couldn't do what I do every day.
Oh no, I know I couldn't. So I
you know, the 6 meals a day, but you know, I think you got to be a little on the crazy side to do it, but I'm a little crazy and I love it. So,
I wouldn't say crazy. I would just say motivated and dedicated. I think anytime you're really hungry for something, like you're going to give it your all. And it sounds like that's what you're doing.
And see, that's like, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Because, so I've always been an all or nothing type of person.
Okay.
I don't know how to half-ass anything. But it was kind of things that interest me. So like if I like it and I'm interested and, but if it's something I'm not interested in, sometimes I'm like, but sometimes in life you got to do things you don't want to do.
Right,
so that's not necessarily,
sacrifice.
then that's not necessarily the best thing. But, with this sport, that's all I know. I don't know how to, not be all in.
You play football, Chase?
I never played football.
I only ask that because when you say like you all or nothing, you what coaches love. Like coaches be like, I want you to run through a brick wall, and I'm in the back like run through a brick wall for who? But they got most people that'll do it, which is cool because you got those enforcers on the team, which I respect. So that's only why I asked you that.
Well, see, I grew up playing baseball, and my team, we were always top 5 in the state, ranked nationally. So I was pretty damn good at baseball, if I do say so myself. But
shit then. Okay.
I mean, but it was just one of those things. Like I've always wanted to do something to the highest level that I can.
Yeah.
It didn't just come that way overnight. I had to work for it.
Yeah.
But kind of going back to anything you do, you got to love the grind. Mm-hmm. You got to love the hard work because it's not just going to fall into your lap. So it was just one of those things, working at it every day. I'm still working at it every day. This is my off season, right? So I'm trying to work to put on some muscle tissue.
Right.
And
strengthen those areas that you mentioned, your chest and back.
Yes, ma'am.
So, my bad. So good, with all of that work that you put in, like, what's the recovery like? Because you get it in.
Yeah, man, you get it in. And it don't just like, I'm 6 days a week right now. I enjoy going to the gym 6 days a week. I give myself 1 day of rest.
How many times?
Just once.
Oh, just one time?
Just one time.
Okay.
6 days a week. Sometimes 2 if I got to go do my cardio. Because even right now, trying to put on muscle in the off season, I'm eating a lot more. But I've had off seasons in the past where I kind of overdo it on the eating a little bit.
Oh.
And I put on muscle.
For real? Wow.
I put on muscle, but I put on a little bit more fat than I would like. Because when you're eating in a surplus, you can also gain some fat.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the harsh reality for bodybuilders, is because, you walk around so cut and lean when you're in prep and ready to do a show. And sometimes for your off season, the cuts go away because you're eating a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're putting on muscle, but, I think it's a lot harder to put on muscle than it is to burn fat. But, you're not always seeing the results weekly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just a process. So even right now, my coach has me doing 20 minutes of cardio 4 times a week, which is fine. And I enjoy doing that. It keeps your heart healthy. If you start out the day on an empty stomach and the first thing you do is go do some cardio, it makes you feel so good after. You feel like you can tackle anything that day is going to throw at you.
Wow.
So for me, it just puts me in a good mood. Some people hate it, and it's understandable. You're not going to feel 100%. You're not going to feel like that every single day.
Yeah, I agree.
But, even when I was prepping for a show, my cardio was up to 45 minutes a day, 6 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Now, those days you got to dig deep because it was kind of tough. So going from what I was doing to 4 days, 20 minutes a week, that's, pretty easy for me now.
Right.
But yeah, it's just, being motivated. So 1-2 times a day, max.
So you do like crowd therapy, ice baths, anything?
Man, not really. The biggest thing is sleep.
Just sleep.
A lot of it is just keeping it simple. So that, people try to overcomplicate it. There's all these like sciences out and everything like that, all these different studies. You got to find what works for you.
Right.
Because everybody's different. What works for me might not work for you.
Correct.
And over the years, for me, it's been trial and error. And then also, so I have a really great coach. who I've been working with. Maybe
What's the coach name? Let them know.
Seth Brooks.
Seth Brooks.
Shout out.
We're gonna send some people your way.
But yeah, man, he's awesome. So I talk to him every day, and I train people myself. I have clients myself, you know, that
Awesome.
I train. So my goal is to help people because I didn't really have anybody to help me when I first started out. So, you know, I can make a living doing what I love to do.
So by you
And-
training, do you train specifically like of what they need or like
Whatever their goal is.
whatever they go? Okay, cool.
So, you know,
Interesting.
whatever
I
you
like that.
whatever you want to do, if you just want to, you know, lose some fat and, you know, tone up or, you know, get a little shredded, whatever, we can do that.
Well, I don't want our viewers to get worried. You know, they like, man, if I get with him, he gonna have me lifting too heavy. So
Yeah,
now y'all
yeah.
know, like,
So the way I put it is, so I have my training partners that I train with,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll sometimes train with my clients, but I more so show my clients how to do things correctly. Because I don't want them getting hurt either. I don't want
Right.
them, you know, like on a deadlift. I don't want them arching their back and then all of a sudden, boom,
Yeah.
they herniate a disc, you know.
Yeah,
So
that's super important.
so I you know, give them the guidance and show them what to do. And because even if you want to lose fat, even if you want to build muscle, you still should lift weights, I think. That's not the only way,
Mm-hmm.
but the more muscle that you have, the more calories you burn because muscle burns more calories than fat.
Right.
So the more muscle you have, the easier it is to get leaner.
Yeah.
You know, so me getting up in my off season for the show, I'm hoping to put on a good bit of muscle, trying to stay lean as well doing it, but it'll be easier next time around. I have to prep and cutting down. It just won't be so, you know,
Gotcha.
crucial, so
Mhm.
terrible.
Well,
Not that it is terrible, but it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, if it was easy, everybody would walk around with 6-pack abs and
I know that's
big
right.
muscles and things like that. So
Well, nowadays they got the BBLs for the men. Get the 6-packs. Remember you talked about that last
they have men BBLs. That's
yeah,
wild.
they got ab implants,
Mhm.
all that, muscle implants.
wow.
Yeah,
It's
but
getting crazy.
I mean, I ain't got none of that. But,
Chase was like, by the way, that's
yeah,
not me.
that ain't me. But teach their own. If you want to do that, cool. But
Yeah.
I like the satisfaction of working for it too.
Mhm.
You know, so
Yeah, because when you work for something, it just feels that much more better because you know you earned it.
yeah, most definitely.
Mhm.
I mean, if you want to go get some type of cosmetic surgery, I'm not against it. Like you do whatever you want to do. It ain't for me personally, but if that's the route you want to
For
take.
sure.
But you know, it's also about health too. Like a lot of my clients, they just want to get healthier. You know, because I don't just work with bodybuilders or
Right.
powerlifters. I work with, you know, everyday people. Some of my guys, like I have a guy, he's a accountant. You know, one of my buddies is a respiratory therapist. So it's just one of those things, you know, you can be healthy and look good, you know, just being everyday, you know, not an average Joe, but just having a life, you know, you
Yeah.
gotta
For sure.
So how you get your clients? Like the people you train with?
really just word of
Word 'em
mouth,
out?
man.
Dang, that's pretty impressive.
But you know, I'm all about quality over quantity.
Yeah.
So, you know, they get what they pay for with me. So, and I'm here to really help people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've had people who I've dropped because they don't want to necessarily listen to what I tell them, or, you know, they just don't want to follow a certain plan and we'll try to get back to the drawing board. And I'm like, look, you're wasting my time and yours,
Ooh.
you know? So I like to work with like more serious people
Mm-hmm.
rather than just taking somebody's money and them paying me and they're not getting anything out of it. And I'm not getting the satisfaction out of helping them either.
Right.
So, you know, that's that really.
That's what's
That's
up.
important. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, Chase.
Yeah,
No problem.
We really appreciated your words, and I think the audience will definitely have some takeaways from the conversation today.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm a little nervous at first. I'm
Oh, no
not
need
really
to
in
be
front of the
nervous.
camera, but you guys are awesome, and I just appreciate you guys.
Nah, you
having
good.
me on.
I love it. I mean, when you start doing competitions and the spotlight gonna be on you, asking you interviews,
Yeah, man.
I'll be there interviewing you. So
Yes, sir.
it's practice run right
hopefully
here.
next year, and I come back, I'll do an interview with you guys, and I'll have a pro card, or I'll be on my way.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right. Well, I guess I'll end it with the quote of the day.
Okay. Let's give it
Let's
to us.
hear it.
What we got today?
Let's see. So it says, it's okay to not be perfect. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to do something that you wish you hadn't done, because if you don't do those things, we never grow.
Never.
So
I love
it's all right
that.
to go through the struggle. It's all right to, fall down, but get your ass up.
I think y'all wrapped it up, and I think we ended on an awesome note. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank y'all
I
for tuning
appreciate
in
it.
to Creative Concepts. We'll see y'all for the next episode.